Hello guys, welcome to Investing with JYK. Today we'll discuss VIEs. So recently there's been issues um, regarding Didi and Alibaba, and looks like the Chinese government is cracking down on these internet giants. Reasons include something like information security and antitrust. That is a different topic, but all of them follow a structure known as VIE. Sven Carlin has mentioned some of the quirks about VIEs, and today I will discuss a little bit further on this topic, mostly because I just went through setting up one. My company is now part of a VIE structure, and we are also subject to the, let's say, uncertainties in this policy. So VIEs, they started off as basically as a gray area, and the structure basically looks like, well, this. So you have some of the BVIs, so British Virgin Islands, some companies that's based there, that are owned by the founders or founders' family trust or whatever. And also the venture capitals. And the one thing that is common is that they want US dollar exit. So if you don't follow this structure, you cannot go public, in outside China. And then if you can't go public outside China, then you can't get dollars back. And so in addition to that, you would have the ESOP, so the Employee Stock Holding Platform. So the ESOP would be a limited partnership, being where the general partner is typically one of the founders, and the employees being limited partners in that partnership. Okay, so they collectively own a Cayman Island company, which is the main entity that, in the case of liquidation, that's the one that's getting bought or goes public. And then the Cayman Island company would then control a Hong Kong company, which in turn then fully owns a company inside China that is what we call them WFOE because it's too long. Wholly foreign owned enterprise. It's just too many syllables. And that WFOE would then have a contract, which I would show you later, with a China entity that is fully owned by Chinese citizens. So you cannot have any foreign ownership in that entity. The reason I'll mention later. Okay, so a couple questions. Why going through the trouble of setting up BVIs before why setting up something in between Cayman and the actual owners, the natural persons in this case? Well, taxes. And why is there a Hong Kong company in between Cayman and the WFOE in China? Well, because of taxes, because there's some dividend tax preferential treatment treaty between Hong Kong and mainland China. So that's why. And okay. And then the way you use the money from WFIE to the China entities, essentially you just either lend money, basically just lend money to the Chinese entity, and then essentially they will never claim that debt because they are really one and the same. It's like claiming some debt from your wholly owned subsidiary. But in this case, they have no WFIE. Well, between Cayman and the China entity, there's no stock holding whatsoever, and there cannot be any. The reason is ICP. So there's a thing called ICP in China, and I have no freaking idea what the hell it means. Everywhere it says it's just ICP. Okay, it says telecommunication and information services permit or something like that. Internet. I don't know how the full English name, but essentially without ICP, you cannot provide information or create, for example, websites, and for a fee. Right? You can do it for free, but you cannot do it for a fee. So that is why you need ICP. And in order to have ICP, you best have only Chinese ownership. If you have any foreign ownership, then you have to go through a whole hurdle of just random crap, which you probably don't want to go through. And that is why. Okay, back to the last thing, contract. So what does a contract look like? Well, here is a template where I have removed anything that's identifying. So everything's in Chinese, which you might have guessed, it's subject to Chinese law. Okay. Forgive the beer. So essentially, the gist is that Part A, which is essentially the WFIE, says that it will provide exclusive technical service, technical consulting, and other services. And Part B Party B has to accept whatever Party A provides for whatever cost. And it says that Party A will provide whatever service, but the thing is, really there is no service because Party A basically has no employees in this case. And then Party A would then pay for, supposedly Party A is supposed to provide service and provide all the equipments and all the personnels and forever, basically. And then Party B shall not, without the formal consent of Party A, within the validity of this contract, directly or indirectly accept any third-party consulting or service. But it's just really two parties are controlled by the same people, so whatever, this will happen. And in the end, here, the pretty cool thing is that Party B grants Party A irrevocable exclusive purchasing right, using which Party A can by part or whole any of party B's asset. Okay, so basically it and then the price would be whatever is legally allowed. Well, in this case, in China, the legally allowed lowest price is usually the net asset price, and for a tech company, that's usually close to zero because most of your asset is intangible and not the ones that is recorded as intangible asset, because usually you don't capitalize your research and development cost. So these are done as what do you call those? Expenses, right? Current expense. And yeah, so that's that. That's the thing that's granted to party A. And party B shall give, well, service fee to party A, where essentially the pricing is decided by party A. So party A can charge party B whatever shit it demands, and party B shall comply, essentially. And that's basically that. And also, party B shall not leak any intellectual property and whatnot. And the whole gist of this whole contract is that party A essentially owns all the economical interest of party B, and blah 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 blah. And in the end, the last thing here is the signing, going into effect, interpretation, execution, modification, and termination of this contract is applicable within Chinese law. Okay? If there are parts of this contract that's not fully explained in Chinese law, then we use international legal principles and past examples and whatever not. So yeah, so that's basically that. So the whole contract basically goes there like this, and if you want to use some kind of translator on this, you can. Yeah, so that's that. And what Sven said about how the protection of the Cayman Islands Cayman Island company's shareholder is less than usual ownership is true, because what you have is a contract, and the contract is not enforced in either Cayman Islands or US, it's enforced in China. And the party A is actually a Chinese entity owned by Chinese nationals. Party B is mostly owned by US dominated capital, which in turn is probably some kind of pension fund. Right? So if there were to be bias, I would say it would just go one way. Yeah, so that's that. If you have more on this VIE thing, you can comment, and I shall go ahead and make another video. Goodbye.